Hello and welcome. You're watching Unplugged TV India. This is Alice Francis. Let's begin with today's top stories. Uttar Pradesh Assembly Election, 46.70% voter turnout recorded till 3 p.m. India ramped up Operation Ganga to bring back Indian nationals, 19 evacuation flights to bring 3,736 Indians back home. India abstained in UN General Assembly against Russia for third time. SBI stops transaction related to Russian entities under sanctions. Russian invasion of Ukraine has thrown Mongolia's East-West Balancing Act into disarray. Philippines allow nuclear power resurrection to phase out coal. No reports of Indian students being kidnapped in Ukraine. India Quad meeting with Biden and others will take place on Thursday. Hungary will not object to European Union sanctions against Russia. Uttar Pradesh Assembly elections, voting for the sixth phase of the elections began at 7 a.m. on Thursday, sealing the fate of the future of the political parties and candidates. The voting was held at 57 constituencies in 10 districts on Thursday, deciding the fate of leaders like Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, Congress's Ajay Kumar Laloo, and Samajwadi Party's Swami Prasad Maurya. As per the data issued by Election Commission of India, 46.70% voter turned out till 3 p.m. on Thursday, while Ambedkar Nagar recorded 52.40% voting, Balrampur 42.67%, Siddharth Nagar 45.33%, Basti 46.49%, Sant Kabir Nagar. The final phase of voting will be held on March 7. Result will be out on March 10. Nawab Malik, Maharashtra Minister, has been detained by the Enforcement Directorate until Monday, March 7. Malik was detained last week in connection with a money laundering case linked to wanted Don Dawood Ibrahim. Malik is a senior official of the Nationalist Congress Party, which is in power in the state, together with the Congress and Shiv Sena. The Bombay High Court allowed Malik's plea to be heard on Tuesday, in which he sought to overturn his arrest and the special court remands order. Malik stated in an appeal that his detention and incarceration were completely unconstitutional and that the enforcement case information report should be annulled and he be released immediately. According to the plea, the summons issued to him on February 23 and his subsequent arrest by the ED on the same day were based on a political vendetta, since he was vociferous and critical of the union government's misuse of central agencies. State Bank of India, the nation's largest lender, has stopped processing transactions of Russian entities that have been sanctioned by the West over Moscow's invasion of Ukraine. To effect this, SBI has issued a circular as it fears that any transaction with entities or sectors under sanction will invite sanction on it as well. No transactions involving entities, banks, ports or vessels appearing on a US, European Union or United Nations sanctions list would be processed irrespective of the currency of the transaction. Payments due to such entities have to be processed by other mechanism rather than banking channel. SBI operates a joint venture in Moscow called Commercial Indo Bank Limited, where Canara Bank is another partner with 40% stake. On Thursday, 19 evacuation flights flew to get 3,726 Indian people stuck in Ukraine back to India. Because Ukrainian airspace is banned, these aircraft will operate from Ukraine's neighboring nations, to which Indians will be transported by land routes. Under Operation Ganga, 3,726 Indians will be flown back to India on Thursday on 8 flights from Bucharest, 2 flights from Suceava, 1 flight from Kosice, 5 flights from Budapest and 3 flights from Zeevo. The government is increasing flights under Operation Ganga, which was initiated to bring Indian national banks from the war-torn Ukraine following Russia's full-scale incursion on February 24. Sindhya is currently in Romania with 3 other union ministers, Hardeep Singh Puri, Kiren Rijiju and General V.K. Singh, to coordinate evacuation efforts. India has started evacuating its citizens via special aircraft from Ukraine's western neighbors like Romania, Hungary and Poland due to the restrictions of Ukrainian airspace for civilian planes. Since the beginning of the operation, 17,000 Indians have been evacuated from Ukraine till date. The Indian Air Force has also contributed to the evacuation efforts, flying 4 aircrafts to bring trapped Indian home. The IAF's 4 aircraft were all C-17 military transports. Earlier on Wednesday, Indian Embassy in Ukraine had issued an advisory for Indian nationals in Kharkiv to leave the city immediately for their safety and security and were advised to proceed to Shochin Babai. The IAF C-17 heavy lift transport aircraft have been extensively used for evacuation of standard citizens of India in the recent past, mostly notably from Afghanistan. These airplanes have also been utilized to transport oxygen containers in large quantities during the COVID-19 outbreak last year. India abstained for the 3rd time in less than a week in the United Nations General Assembly on resolutions related to the escalating crisis between Moscow and Kyiv, this time on a resolution that strongly condemned Russia's aggression against Ukraine. The 193-member General Assembly reaffirmed its commitment to Ukraine's sovereignty, independence, unity and territorial integrity within internationally recognized borders on Wednesday and strongly condemns Russia's aggression against Ukraine. With 144 votes in favor, with 5 votes against and 35 abstentions, the resolution was passed. As the resolution was passed, the General Assembly broke into applause. The UNGA resolution also condemned Russia's decision to beef up its nuclear weapons readiness and called for an end to the conflict between the two countries as soon as possible. Russian invasion of Ukraine has thrown Mongolia's East-West Balancing Act into disarray. Mongolia is in a tight spot economically and diplomatically as a result of Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the imposition of strong sanctions on Moscow, and analysts warn that its delicate balancing act between East and West could be thrown off. Philippines allows nuclear power resurrection to phase out coal. President Rodrigo Duterte of the Philippines has signed an executive order to incorporate nuclear power in the country's energy mix as officials prepare to phase out coal-fired power facilities, and other previous attempts failed owing to safety concerns. After Russia accused Ukrainian authorities of forcefully detaining a large group of Indian students in the city of Kharkiv as human shields, India stated on Thursday that it has heard no information of its students being held prisoners in Ukraine. Since Russian forces invaded last week, the 1.5 million strong city in northern East Ukraine has been one of the hardest hit by Russian attacks, and many Indian students have struggled to flee. On Tuesday, a shelling in Kharkiv killed an Indian student while another student died of stroke. President of the United States Joe Biden, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison and Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida will meet virtually on Thursday. Hungary will not object to European Union sanctions on Russia, and Prime Minister Viktor Orban stated that the bloc's unity is crucial in light of the conflict in Ukraine, which Hungary unequivocally condemns. Hungary joined an initiative by 8 European Union's leaders this week to begin membership discussions with Ukraine's eastern neighbor, but NATO member Hungary has opposed the passage of lethal weaponry via its borders. Thank you for watching Unplugged TV India. Please hit like, subscribe and share. This is Alice Francis signing off.